Embracing Technology panel at Lakeland College, Japan. We have three speakers today, and all on the subject of ePortfolios. So if you love ePortfolios or want to know about them, this is definitely the place to be. My name, by the way, is Luis Poza. I'm a professor here at Lakeland College, Japan. I teach computer science, so I'm interested in this as well. So I'm very much looking forward to this presentation. So we have two presenters today from Miyazaki International College. We have Anderson Passos and Debra Occhi. And then from Sohei University, we have Professor Harunori Miyagi. So we'll begin with Professor Passos on a case study of the ePortfolio implementation. He'll be talking about the use of ePortfolios in class, followed by his colleague, also from Miyazaki, about their implementation. Thank you very much, and let's give a big hand to Professor Passos.
Thank you very much. So what I'll be showing here is how we use the ePortfolio inside the classroom and got some side effects where students were also required to do some work outside class and everything, how can I say, like matomeru, everything got together in that central point. So my name is Anderson. I'm not a native speaker, so please don't make fun about my accent. And our ePortfolio in Miyazaki International College is based on Moodle and Mahara. So our college is using Moodle for, I think, 14 years now. And so many teachers were already okay with Moodle, but we have never heard about Mahara. And my class was the first class to actually try to use them in synchrony. What we do is, Moodle is basically used for class assignments, and what I'm doing in Mahara is just getting students to show evidence of their learning. So they use journals to get that task accomplished. Before I go to the next slide, I have to tell you that the course I'm going to show here, the course I used as a pilot is an IT course. So it was an IT and environmental issues course for very low English language skills students. We had TOEIC scores ranging from 850 to 350. Okay, and then as I will show you later, the evidence shown in the journal made me believe that it doesn't really matter the level of English that they have, because they are actually capable of exercising critical thinking if given the proper time to do such. Okay, so our portfolio in my class, I was using, I was doing rubrics through Moodle, journals with Mahara, using badges. I think someone is presenting about gamification, but at the same time, so unfortunately you cannot hear about that. Badges will serve as a motivational factor. So we try to show cute badges and tell students, hey, look, if you improve your typing skills, we get a badge for that. So it's really like, it instigates the spirit of competition that many Japanese students don't have, right? And then finally, I will just briefly talk about the tablet PC. We institutionalized the portfolio because of the acceleration program grant from Mokasho. So it was kind of pushed on us that, oh, you have to use tablets to improve active learning in the classroom. And so kind of trying to cover up that edge with some tablet activities. I will just briefly show it. So first, the rubrics. I don't think I have to go much in detail about rubrics. You probably are all aware what it is. But in this course, given that it's an IT course with focus on environmental issues, I created those 4 different rubric sets. So they have a writing rubric that will be applied to Word, MS Word skills, spreadsheet rubric, presentation rubric, and class behavior. Because sometimes they don't behave, so just try to keep them on track. Interesting enough is this one. This will be the first item in every rubric that I created for the course. And it is a pre-production or draft element. That means that when a student submits something to Moodle, he can never get 100 points out of it, even if the homework is perfect. And the reason is, he has to prove he made a draft. He has to prove he thought about the activity before actually writing it. So if I give them, oh, make a graph in Microsoft Excel, very simple task. Put the data there, select, make a graph. Doesn't take much of a brain to do it. But why did you choose that graph? What are you trying to show with that data? So they can do anything they want. They can take pictures of it. They can just write as a normal, before we had a presentation about dialogue journals. Anything is fine as long as they prove they were thinking about the activity previously or afterwards. I'm just using four scales, 4 points scales, just to make sure that there is no mid-terms. Either they are good or bad. That's it. Of course, the rubrics are explained in the first day of class. So first day of class, usually I give them the syllabus. It's a very boring class, no critical thinking, no active learning at all. We just go and read all the rules, and I tell them this is a contract. Once you accept it, those rules apply for the rest of the semester. So I make sure that they understand what it means. Okay? We go into journals, we go into the, I explain them how to use the Moodle, how to use Mahara in the first 3 weeks of classes. And they start writing journals only in the 3rd week. But they know what's coming. And then that's why the explanation is necessary. So anyway, this is how it looks in Moodle. So if anyone had a chance to try the rubrics in Moodle, it's really, really time-saving. Instead of just, I used to hate Moodle, and I do a little bit still, but I used to get like Word files, like 2-3 page Word files, and go with red pen around it, crossing and rewriting stuff. It's like, no. Now, when they submit, the file will be here. You click, you open the Word, read through it. Oh, do you have a title? Yes. Okay, give you a point. Oh, did you do a pre-production draft? Did you do a draft of an activity? Okay, just click. 3 points. That's it. So it's really time-saving. What would take 10 minutes now takes literally 20 seconds. It's the time to check the work, click, and assign the points. That's it. Okay, so this is one of the evidence artifacts submitted by a student during the MS Word section in the course. So it was a student writing about acid rain. So they had to write a paragraph in MS Word. How does he prove? How did this student prove he did the draft, or just took a picture of the paper, uploaded to the journal in Mahara? That was it. Excel. How do you make a draft in Excel? Well, this student actually showed the process, the thinking. Oh, which ice cream flavors should we keep? And then take notes, decide it. So this shows they are thinking about the activity while doing their homework. And then finally, PowerPoint. So same thing. They go there. They drew the slides, how they wanted the slides to look like, what they are going to say in that slide, make some annotations. You can see that they don't like question time. Right? But that's it. And then the journal worked very well because they could just go there, write about what they actually done in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, with a focus on environmental issues. And they are writing it, they are training, they are improving their writing skills, improving their thinking skills, everything combined. It was a really, really good exercise. This is how it looks in Mahara. So again, research about acid rain in Wikipedia, of course, but I couldn't understand little. Okay, I told you 350 TOEIC scores in this course. So, I researched it, I learned, and then here's the draft. Great. So this student got 3 points in the rubric. So she's telling me what she did to achieve the objective, to complete the task. Show me the draft. There is evidence, an artifact there, and that's fine. She got it. Okay, so journals, same thing. I think you all know this. I'm not going into there. And here is what I wanted to show you before. This is a student with 850 TOEIC score. Okay, and his English has mistakes, but it's very easy to read. And he's writing about an activity in the Excel section where they had to go to the parking lot, count the cars, and make graphs. And then this is a 350 TOEIC student. Okay, and then during the typing class, this student, even with the 350 TOEIC score, was able to think a lot about her own learning process. Oh, so I did this, but that didn't work. And then I went there and I tried more, and then. So this shows, this is evidence of critical thinking happening by itself. So I'm just giving them the tool, and students are taking it and writing well. Okay, Moodle, Mahara, how do they interconnect? They do. We have single sign-on, but it's not really friendly to see all those pages. So one trick that I did was I created, in the first part of the course, first block, I created an assignment. They submit secret URLs. Why secret URLs? Just to avoid Google indexing the pages and their writing showing up on the search engine. We want to avoid problems with privacy, Japanese privacy law. So that was it. How did they do it? There is a secret URL setting in Mahara where they can share only with people with that link. That's it. Easy enough. This is how a course page looks like in Mahara. So there is no grade for the course page itself, but the course page serves as evidence that they are learning, that they are exercising critical thinking. They write their impression of the course. I have all the journal entries. So every time I give them an assignment, I just go check their secret URL for that specific student. Is there a journal entry for that? Oh yes, there is. Okay, great. Does it fulfill the requirements I set for the journal entries? Yes, got the points. I have all the material that they are working in class. So it's one place where I can check everything. And finally, badges. So again, just to tell them, oh yeah, you're doing a great job. Keep working on it. We devised some basic categories, and those are some of the badges. Okay, so for example, we have here typing basic and typing advanced. So during the course of during the semester, they are doing the typing activity. They have to prove they got a certain typing speed. How do they do it? Journals. And then the teacher goes there, checks the journals. Oh, you got, I think, 25 or 30 words per second. Okay, great, you got a basic badge. And then they are looking to each other and say, oh, he got an advanced. Why did I get the basic? Hey, read the syllabus. It's there. If you get 45 words, you will get the advanced. Oh, and they are competing Oh, I will beat you, oh, I got 46, oh, I got 47. Vocabulary, we're covering language as well, so if they get 80% or more in the vocabulary tests, covering environmental issues and IT vocabulary, they will get a badge for vocabulary. Critical thinking, and all the skills that we show in the syllabus. Oh, those are course objectives. We have badges for it, and they kind of feel like, how can I say it? It's like a rubber stamping, but they feel like, oh, I'm good. I'm doing it. I am really completing the steps, achieving the objectives of this course. This is how it looks in their Moodle page. So that's how their friends see each other badges and say, oh no, why did you get an email badge? And then they come to me, oh, he got it. So again, the competition starts kicking in. And the tablet PC, we are using Kahoot. Many of you might know Kahoot is a class response system. But because we are giving tablets to all students, we have to use it, right? And then the easiest way to do it without any specific software was to use an open access software. The trick here is that our institution does not allow teachers to register students, because if it's a free application, that means that nobody is liable for the information. And Kahoot allows us to use the software without any private information. You don't have students' names, you don't have students' numbers, nothing. The only thing is you access it, you give them a code, a PIN code, they can use their smartphones, their tablets, their computers, anything. And then it's just a questionnaire. It's really a questionnaire. It's like the quiz in Moodle, but it's more fun. You have a background music, it's like to keep the things going. And kids have a lot of fun. We are using it for reviewing previous class material. So every class, every 2-3 classes, we run a Kahoot. Say, hey, do you remember 2 weeks ago class? How do we make a table of contents in Word? Oh, we need heading 5. We need these. Okay, and then they just answer. That's it. And that's basically it. What we are doing, it is working pretty well. We are also making class material available outside classroom. Again, go back to Moodle. First block, just a page in Mahara where we are using electronic whiteboard hardware to record the class explanations. So if students miss a class, they can always go to Mahara and see the explanation. That saves a lot of time because I don't have to repeat the lesson over and over. And this was visualization tool for the rubric. This one was developed in-house, so usually our teachers are using Excel to do their gradings, and then it's as easy as copy-paste in the web form, and then that tool will generate the graphs. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much, and any questions, suggestions, we have an email here for contact. Thank you very much.
All right, and now we have Mr. Professor Passos's, or I'm sorry, Anderson's, right? Yes. Colleague from Miyazaki, Debra Occhi, and she'll be discussing the anthropological perspective on implementation. Everybody give a big hand to Debra Occhi.
This one? No, the first one.
The first one?
Yeah. On the right.
Social clear.
Yes.
You have to hit the escape key for that too.
Okay. Put it. Okay, all right. All right, I have a hard act to follow. He did this all in 20 minutes very eloquently. I'm Tucking. He is one of the many instructors at MIC and has been the most engaged in using the new portfolio system. We have a couple of shared roles here, and I'll get into that in a minute, but I'm just going to talk about the whole campus-wide introduction of the portfolio. So he's talking about a specific course that will fit into my talk a little bit, but I'll also cover some issues of the campus at large. So how is it that we got this ePortfolio? I'll start by talking a little bit about the AP grant. What is it? Koto Kyoiku Saisei Shinkaku Saisei Kasoku Program. So it's like VCR controls, right? Play, fast forward, okay? And it's accelerated program. And so we have been doing not rubric-based syllabi, not ePortfolio, but we've been doing active learning, critical thinking, and English language throughout the whole life of the college, some 21 years. And these are some slides that I borrowed from the actual presentation of the AP grant to the faculty once we got it. So they had consulted with us, they came up with a proposal. It's one of these, like a camel is a horse built by a committee kind of thing, okay, to be honest, and I'll get into some of those issues in a minute. But anyway, here are the things. The main division is active learning and visualization of learning outcomes, critical thinking and English language in that umbrella, and then on our side, rubric-based syllabi, which you saw an example in Anderson's presentation, and then the ePortfolio. So, oh boy. This is like the zombie made this slide because I've already fixed it like twice since I got it from the working group. But anyway, it just says we have 5 working groups and we use the PDCA cycle. PDCA is plan, do, check, act. It's a business cycle. It sounds a little strange, but it just means that you think you're going to do something and then you do it, but then it never goes how you plan. So you check and see, well, why isn't it going to plan? And then you act to try to get it a little closer and do another iteration. So it basically, it provided us with a really nice comfort zone because so many things don't go the way you envision. And so when things don't go well, you just say, well, there's a PDCA, there's an issue for PDCA, instead of saying, it's all, it's all going to ruin. You just say, well, we'll reiterate it next time. So here's what was our original scheduled implementation. We got the grant in fall of 2014. Very optimistically, we were going to get, the newsletter was no connection to me. The tablet PCs came out in 2015 in the fall. The Mahara environment did not get installed until 2015 in the fall. The assessment officer was on board from 2015 in the spring. The assistant actually started from fall of 2014, and thank goodness for her. She was amazing. This guy was not really a techie-oriented person, and so here's where we get into this idea of roles and tasks. And anybody who has worked in sociology and anthropology has learned about Goffman and the idea of roles and tasks and that they come with built-in expectations. So the assessment officer's role, one of their roles was to be the head of the ePortfolio Center, and it never ever happened. So I was the ePortfolio working group leader. I got this karma from going to a Moodle Moot in 2011 and hearing about Mahara being used in other campuses and thinking this would be so good for our students, and kind of making noise about it. And we didn't have infrastructure at that time, but it never really went away. And so when we got the AP, it was a kind of natural thing that it would be my problem to figure it out. So I was the working group leader of 4 members. In my other life, I'm an anthropologist, but this is a very anthropological project. This is a real culture change experience in a way. And so I was the tech leader, and then because of the working group, because of the assessment officer problem plus alpha. Anderson here is a member of the working group. He's our ICT main professor. He's also the ICT manager. And so people tend to always turn to Anderson about every little thing, big and small. And so we have several roles as fellow faculty and as members of the working group, but we cut a line and said, okay, classroom implementation, campus-wide implementation. We collaborate quite a lot, but we don't, I try to keep people off his back for things that should be a campus situation. And it worked, I think, really well. Now, I guess I lied here because you're saying that we had Moodle sooner than I thought we did. I thought we had Moodle for 10 years. Anyway.
So I lied.
Oh, no, one of us is lying. We don't know who, okay? Anyway, so you know Moodle, open source management system. It's course specific, so when your course is completed, you can copy your teaching materials, take them forward, and all the student materials get lost. What a shame. Enter Mahara. Mahara is the management of the portfolio. Each student is now in charge of it. Instead of the teacher setting it up, the student sets it up. They have their own portfolio. They can collect their data, reflect on it, share it with people through the secret URL or other ways. It can be used at the course level use, as you saw in Anderson's case, and it also helps us meet the criteria for visualization of learning outcomes that's specified in the grant. And so by linking these together, you get a single sign-on, single user profile with the badges on it. You can, as he showed, you can send assignments to Moodle as assignments. You can use Mahara to show things that are linked to the Moodle, and so you can also grade by linking the Moodle and Mahara. Now I think there's a plug-in that's maybe make our life easier next year, but at the moment, by submitting Mahara pages into Moodle assignments, you can grade them with rubrics, and that puts those pieces together that was in the grant pages that had the world behind them. So, yeah, having been a sort of half-baked Moodle user, I have never really been a full-on Moodle user, but I find it very useful, for instance, with job hunting students to keep course materials and keep people in line with the program while they're leaving Miyazaki to job hunt. Mahara, again, I had seen about this in a conference, so it wasn't too hard to learn about it. And so this is the schema that we came up with. So the students are here saving their work in an ePortfolio, which is Mahara, so they can save all the stuff that they've done outside of the Moodle. They can save stuff from inside Moodle. They can put test scores, keep a journal. They can make a Mahara page. Here's Anderson grading the page with the rubric. Also, for the sake of the AP grant, they make these evidence pages for each year of their learning. And second year, third year, fourth year. And then these things are graded by what we thought would be the assessment officer, and that's the visualization of learning outcomes. So this was the grand scheme. And to go along with this, as a good anthropologist, roles and responsibilities. Okay, so the teacher, again, this was very optimistic, and we found it very important to delineate the roles, because the rest of the faculty were saying, oh my gosh, I don't use Moodle, do I have to use it? Do I have to use this portfolio? And the short answer was no. The teachers don't have to use it. The students have to use it from the first year on up, because as this gets implemented, we get tablets to the students. Students have to use the tablets and the software. Okay? Upperclassmen, upper division students were also orientated. They were free to use it or not, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So anyway, I made these very easy to understand categories of what teachers and students had to do in Moodle and Mahara in order to teach them the specific tasks in orientations. So I designed the materials, I held the orientations. Here's the ePortfolio assessment officer doing the year-end pages. So I'm going to flip right through these because there was so many, and they're just all the different tasks that are assigned. And oh, you just saw the badges, okay? But here's what really happens. Anderson is the one faculty who actively used the portfolio in their class from day one. And you just saw about that and how good it was. So the students, were working to meet these assessments. I did the software orientation, how to use Mahara, without looking at how to use it in class. It was just, here's the software, here's how you log in to the Moodle, here's where you click, you go to Mahara, and those very kind of rudimentary tasks we oriented everybody about on. And then, my job as the working group leader would have been done at that point. To get the system set up, to get the materials ready, to orient everybody, that was the role. But we have this person who's a non-techie person who's no longer there, and we look at the situation and say something has to be done, and I said, okay, I'm the one to do it. I'm already 2 feet in the pot, just put the fire on and we'll boil it up. So, yes, then I made the criteria for the first year students, and went ahead and assessed them, and now we're working on second year criteria, and I'll talk about that now. So for the first year portfolio, we wanted them to show visualizing evidence of their progress in our institution, which is a content, language, integrated teaching program using English with critical thinking, active learning. Did I get all the bells and whistles? Okay, okay. Small class sizes. Okay, so we decided by looking at what we had said in the bulletin about what we were doing, and and other promotional materials, that these were categories that students should show. They should show that they understand what is liberal arts. They understand they've acquired some college-level study skills. They have to show a relationship of their first-year goals to their long-term goals. They had to show critical thinking skills and application of those to real-world issues. Okay. The evidence, we had them use coursework from 3 of their courses in the 3 different liberal arts fields: general science, humanities, social science. Reflective writing, when they made their page, they made a box at the top. This is my page. This is why I use these things. Okay. Career counseling data talks about the long-term goals and the first-year goals. So that was in another database in Japanese, so they could retrieve that material and put it in English and use it here. They could also use their journals. They could put in other text boxes. They could use Moodle forums, etc. People who had Anderson's course were way ahead of the game on this. And then the ePortfolio submission was a page, not including wall, because Mahara also has SNS functions that we didn't get involved in with the orientation. We're going to leave them to play with that themselves. Wall, friends, profile, other SNS stuff was not allowed, but they could link to other coursework pages. And so people in Anderson's course for the general science requirement could just put in a link and say, here's my page from my ICT course to satisfy the general science, link to that, and that counts. That's one of the pieces of evidence. Okay, so here's what we did. For the first year results, we did the software orientations for all the faculty, the freshers, and I should have explained, we're both in the Department of International Liberal Arts, and we have a newer department, which is the Education Department. They are teaching students to be kindergarten and elementary school teachers with a fairly typical Japanese language mainly program. The students are learning English, they are doing active learning in small class sizes, but because of the licensure issue for elementary school teachers, they have to do a lot more coursework in Japanese. They will be teaching elementary school, which is primarily taught in Japanese anyway. So we did, for the ILA we had a lot of success because they were the ideology of ILA, I would say, works much more naturally with the ideas that we were coming up with to use the ePortfolio and the AP Grad in the first place, and it was okay that that was happening. EDU is supposed to sort of come along later because they're a newer department. They have a lot of new things going on already, and so we would just let the dust settle a little bit before we get serious about ePortfolio for them. So we orientated all our faculty, both departments, the ILA department, freshers and sophomores. The sophomores, because it was fall semester, there are only a few because our sophomores go abroad in the second semester. In rare cases, they stay on campus. We had, I think, 13 last year, which is kind of a record for us, a lot of students. So they integrated the on-site study abroad classes with portfolio use. Now, this was a really good test case for us because our abroad students typically have done a portfolio, a hard copy portfolio, to show evidence of their learning on study abroad. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but they did sort of a pilot test for making that into an ePortfolio, even though they were on campus. We also held optional orientation for juniors. This is the second semester, so we didn't see the point in putting seniors through it because they're just about to graduate. They were invited, but it wasn't mandatory for anybody above the first years in the on-site study abroad. We also did orientation for the EDU freshers and sophomores. Those are the only two classes they had. Okay, the program is now in its third year. We haven't yet worked out their criteria for how to do their year-end pages, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So we've accomplished our basic mission as a working group. Again, we had the freshers do year-end pages and assess those, so that mission was also accomplished. And then we had the on-site study abroad portfolios, and that was a great benefit we hadn't planned on. Also, all the printers broke at the end of last academic year, right? The warranty goes off and then the printers all die. It's like the satellite goes over and says, okay, kill those. And so we are on 2-year renewable contracts, and so we do portfolios for reappointment. And so here was another natural use for ePortfolios, and some faculty even contacted me and got additional training and submitted their reappointment portfolios in Mahara. So that was really nice. I mean, it was extra work, but it's a good kind of extra work. Okay, so here's the lessons that we learned. This is the checky stuff. Okay, ePortfolio in the first semester that we did it was not integrated into any of the courses except for Anderson's, which was a pilot. We realized that we need to make ICT mandatory and uniform, so all the students are getting the kind of education he just presented about. We also introduced, because of some other issues, an Intro to Liberal Arts course, and in the fall we'll have a Global Citizenship course. The Intro to Liberal Arts course, both of these I argued to have it placed in the syllabus that 20–30% of the grade was for ePortfolio use. So now we have it integrated into the curriculum in a content-based course, instead of having extra orientations outside class time with no real link to the curriculum, except for in the case of his particular class. We now have it integrated. All right, so that was a real plus for ILA. The funding categories for working with these grants is a real challenge. We're bumping up against things like Microsoft Office licenses. Okay, you've got tablets on the one hand. We already have licenses for the machines already on campus for another. The money is different. The contract needs to be the same. Okay, bad things happen. Visualization of learning outcomes. We found that by having them do these pages, this also gives evidence for things that they are doing for the other working groups. So of course, you see active learning in the writing of journals and in the creation of pages. You see critical thinking. Of course, we put that into the page. We're grading it with a rubric. Of course, they're using English. And so other working groups could point to, or we could use the ePortfolio results to point to the fact that students really are doing these things, even when it wasn't supported as part of the curriculum. Even in this pilot case, we had first-year students really showing that they had got somewhere in the first year of our curriculum. And then also faculty using the ePortfolio gave them incentive. Okay, so here are the challenges for year 2. We have these new courses. The Intro to ILA course just had their content orientation 2 weeks ago. I gave them the same materials I gave the students in the first year. So they're working on those. We have the need for faculty and student support. There are 3 faculty teaching that course. They have different IT skill sets. The second year study abroad program, now they're getting ready to go abroad in August. And so this month, like in the next 2 weeks, I will hold an orientation for them. They will do a multiple page portfolio to reflect the different sections of the hard copy portfolio they did in the past. We have a big hurdle with setting up the ePortfolios. We have new working group members who are going to work with them, and I'm guiding them. And then we're looking ahead to work with the juniors and seniors in our program. So when the second years come back, they will be expected to keep using the portfolio. We might integrate that with our senior thesis project, which is a 2-year cycle program. Okay, so this is the end of my talk. I just want to make the point this is still a work in progress. I'm very, very happy to hear your comments and suggestions. You can write to me personally, or you can write to Portfolio. We both get the portfolio mail, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have about either or both. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so